G'day y'all. Trying to get this up before the 4th of July because there's no way I'm competing with fireworks, okay? Welcome to my monthly recap slash favorites slash what I actually wore. It's kind of a mishmash of all of those things. Let's just jump right in. I'm gonna start with fragrances that seem to be the most popular in my decant shop this month, which to nobody's surprise was Lattafa Eclaire. This stuff is like nearly gone, I'm pretty sure. I need to count like how many mils I actually have left because this was my most popular by far this month. I suppose unsurprisingly, I guess I didn't expect to get so many orders for this one. I maybe should have bought a second bottle, I don't know. It is sold out everywhere in Australia. I don't know about other parts of the world, but I think also something like Lattafa Eclaire will be even more of a hit because its inspiration, Bianco Latte, is 250 Australian dollars. So like a lot of things, it's just a lot more expensive than everywhere else. So even though these Middle Eastern fragrances are kind of getting expensive, the original is like 3 times the price. So not surprising that this was so popular. If you guys haven't watched, I have a full analysis comparison to not only Bianco Latte but also Caramel Cascade by Paris Corner. So if you're interested in kind of a little more in-depth review, and I also do a wear test of that one, I thought that it was incredibly gourmand, very creamy, lovely powdery caramel and almond. It's very good. And listen, I am not like the biggest fan of Bianco Latte to begin with, so that kind of DNA is just not my favorite, but even I can see that this is a pretty good dupe, definitely better than Caramel Cascade. If you're someone who's trying to get Tasking Caramel Cascade hoping for a close dupe of Bianco Latte, you're not going to find it. I'm just telling you right now. Though it is a great dupe of root beer, so if you like root beer, highly recommend Caramel Cascade. So yeah, have sold a lot of Lattafa Eclaire. I might have to take it down because I actually don't want to run out of it. I want to keep some for myself because I'm not going to be able to replace this bottle. Yeah, I thought I'd mention that one. And then another one that hasn't really been popular necessarily, I've been forced to, I guess, forced to revisit is Alien by Mugler, just the original Alien. Not a flanker. This isn't even like a really old formulation. This is the first formulation after L'Oreal took over. So I think 2019 or something. A little bit of a different formulation than the cult favorite juice of Alien by Mugler. Gosh, I've decanted a little bit of this recently. I will say that I know that designer and celebrity and cheaper scents they don't really change like Middle Eastern fragrances do. They have more of that setting time after they're packaged, right? So the consistency with designer fragrances is a lot better. But I will say that even Alien, I feel like it's warmed up a lot. It's a little more cozy than it used to be. I feel like when I first smelled this bottle of Alien, I found it to be kind of cold. The jasmine was a bit cold. It wasn't like that warm, cozy, sexy jasmine that I had heard a lot of people speak of. Now, I know that its reputation came from the older formulation, but I don't know. I find myself smelling this again and I'm like, you know what? It's pretty good. I don't know. I'm just a lover of Alien. I love Alien flankers. There's just something about a lot of Mugler's fragrances that just kind of do it for me. I do love the little more wacky and polarizing note profiles that a lot of Mugler's older scents have, like Aura, for example. I absolutely love Aura by Mugler. Yeah, so I don't know. I've been kind of forced to revisit this one. It's the middle of winter for us down here in Australia, and great scent for the cold. Even the newer formulation, I don't know if they've changed it again since 2019, but even this formulation, I enjoy it more than I used to. And I still even used to like it. I don't know, it's a love it or hate it. Definitely, I would still say not a safe blind buy, especially if you don't like jasmine, but there's just something about her. There is just something about her that just is so, it's so unique. It's intriguing. And the jasmine has really warmed up. Definitely like it more than I used to. And I feel like if you're buying a decant of this now, you're probably getting a better version of the newer juice because it's been chilling for so long. I will say that when I decant this one, it's like I have to wash my hands. I have to wash my hands right after, and it's so strong. I will say, if nothing else, incredibly strong, lasts forever, fills up a room so easily. If I happen to spill like a little dribble of this stuff, it's like it just fills the room. It's crazy. So long lasting. I love the scent personally. I also fortunately have good memories tied to this scent, so there's that as well. It just makes me happy. I love it. I just talked about Alien for like 10 minutes. Let's move on. Oh god, this is gonna be a long video. Let me get my big box. Do you guys like my shacket? I've never worn a shacket before. I bought this like a year ago. I never wore it, and now I'm wearing it. It's also like kind of itchy. Beauty's pain. Is it Thouq? Is it Thouq? Honestly, not 100% sure how to pronounce this one, but either way, it is. I don't know why I say allegedly, like you're in trouble. It's been alleged. It has been alleged that this is like a dupe of Delina Exclusive. Now, I love Delina Exclusive. I love the heavy, smoky, incensey rose, and it's got a little bit of creaminess in there. I find that this is still good. It's a little lighter. It's a bit softer. It doesn't quite have that dense, creamy smokiness that Delina Exclusive does. Now, granted, I had just opened this couple months ago. Wait, when did I open this one? This isn't from this month, is it? I think it might be from last month. I wore this, okay? I wore it a couple of times. I find now that I'm smelling it, it's a lot muskier than I remember. Now, I am someone who has kind of an issue with musk. This one doesn't give me any headaches or anything like that, which is nice because musk can often give me headaches, especially if it's a really strong musk. Oh, see, now that I'm saying that, I don't know. Listen, it's a beautiful rose. I would say it's more of on the musky side. It's a little bit lighter, muskier. You're not quite getting that same dense, creamy sweetness with that really heavy incense like you are in Delina Exclusive. But I still feel like Thouq, it's still pretty good. Just for me, not really something I would say, oh yeah, you really like Delina Exclusive, get this because it'll scratch that itch. I don't think it will. It's still not bad though. I don't mind it. Something like Delina Exclusive I would definitely wear during the winter. I think this one maybe more of a springtime scent because of how light and musky it is. I don't know if I would whip this one out often in the cooler weather. Yeah, I'm still hoping that this one will change a bit more. Maybe it'll deepen up a little bit. Maybe that vanilla will warm up a bit and it'll get creamier. So I'm kind of hoping that that happens with this one. So I spray because it's obviously middle of winter over here. I find sometimes that I struggle, you guys, because I want to test out and wear fragrances that I can then talk about that are suitable for most people who watch my videos. So people in the Northern Hemisphere who are in summer right now. So, you know, summer fragrances, but it means that I'm not really getting to wear fragrances that are suitable for winter. I don't know, do I be selfish or do I test and wear things that I know other people, most of my viewers are wearing right now? I don't know. Something that I gravitated to this month as far as body spray is Fresh Vanilla Blossoms by Bath & Body Works. I think this one I was spraying on linen and I kind of switch in between different scents, spraying like bedding when I'm washing bedding and stuff like that, and blankets. I'll pick a body spray and spray it, and I'm enjoying that right now. I find it's a different way to enjoy a fragrance. So I whipped out Fresh Vanilla Blossoms and I feel like I definitely like it a lot more than when I first smelled it, like months and months ago when I first bought it. I feel like I like it a lot more. It is a very soft, it does remind me a lot of like a Sabrina Carpenter fragrance. It has that similar fluffy coziness that Sweet Tooth by Sabrina Carpenter has. I'm not saying it's a dupe. I'm not saying it's dupe, but it does give me that same like feeling of like fluffy coziness. So very much enjoyed using Fresh Vanilla Blossoms this month on linens, pillowcases, blankets. Yeah, quick shout out for that one. So another one that I wore a couple of times this month is Khurafi by Lattafa. This is the Arab pink sugar. It's got that really bright candy-like sweetness. It doesn't have quite that same like burnt sugar or strong licorice facet that pink sugar does. So if you're someone who's smelled pink sugar and you're like, I feel like I could like it, but there's just something about it. It's that burntness, because I hear that a lot. People are like, I can't get past it. I can't get past the burnt bit. But this doesn't have that. So I feel like I spray this and then it's gone like 30 minutes later. That's the only downside. Now I've had this bottle for a long time, like since last year. I've had this bottle for a long, right? I've had this bottle since last year. I don't know. I've had it for many months. It's been open for many months. And I feel like every time I spray it, it's just like gone pretty quickly. Like I never smell it again after that. Very sad, very unfortunate, because I was hoping that this would be like a little bit more of a leveled up, grown up version, a little more digestible version of Pink Sugar by Aquilina, but it's not really because it doesn't last. I don't know. Maybe I'll put this one in a smaller decant and see what happens, try and accelerate the aging process, but unfortunately, it's been a few months and this sucker just still is not lasting. Beautiful smell though. Absolutely love the way it smells. I don't know, it just doesn't last, which sucks because it would be perfect for right now. Okay, Rave Now Women by Lattafa. This is an alleged dupe of Burberry Her Elixir. I feel like it's improved a little bit since I got it. I feel like when I first opened it, took it out of the box, it didn't quite have that creaminess that I was hoping for. I feel like it's improved a little bit. The vanilla's gotten a little bit stronger. Also, it's definitely spilled inside of the lid, so a little concerning, but I feel like the vanilla's gotten a little bit stronger, so a little bit better. Does this, I mean, I don't know. I think I need to get a decant Burberry Her Elixir so I can do a proper comparison, especially once I give this time. I feel like to make it completely fair, I need to give it more time because I haven't completely fallen in love with it, unfortunately. But I feel like it could be pretty good, just not as thick and dense as I remember Burberry Her Elixir being. But again, been a long time since I smelled it. I still enjoy it. I still smell it much later. It's definitely still more on the floral side, not so much on the sweet side. I know some of you guys said when I spoke about this in a video, you guys were like, it's become so super sticky sweet, just give it time. I actually like it less now. So I'm definitely gonna do that. Definitely gonna wait this one out. Rave Now Women by Lattafa. Oh, here we go. Just a little mini shout out, because why not mention body products that still smell good. Strawberry Pound Cake by Bath & Body Works. This guy is like nearly done. Really been loving him. This one I carry in my purse. Usually if I need to wash my hands, I'll put some of this on afterwards. Smells delightful. Smells very like buttery. God, they do that like butteriness, that buttery frosting so good. I love both this Strawberry Pound Cake and the Iced Lemon Pound Cake. Actually, the body spray of Iced Lemon Pound Cake, way better than the spray of the strawberry one. In fact, I wish I could get the lotion of Iced Lemon Pound Cake because I feel like I'd like it a lot more. Yeah, been enjoying that one, and it's I'm getting through it. I'm getting through that. And here you go, Strawberry Pound Cake as well. I sprayed it a couple times, just like, I don't know, in bed, trying to get some cozy vibes, which it doesn't smell as good as the lotion. I'm sorry, I don't know. The spray, it's still okay, but it's just not as good as the lotion. It doesn't get that butteriness quite the same. So last month I talked about Lattafa Mayar Natural Intense. Unfortunately, I couldn't directly compare it to Aqua de Joya because I actually had Ocean de Joya. Listen, for me, this is an incredibly likable aquatic melon, water lily, lotus, those nice aquatic flowers. I find this to be quite digestible for a heavy aquatic fragrance. Though with that being said, if you're not a fan of super heavy aquatics, then you might not like this one, but it's definitely got that cologne, that melony smell. Coconut water, you've got fig in there, so you've got like a little bit of a sweet bite at the top on the initial spray. I wore it a couple days ago. We had some friends over and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna spray it on my shirt. So strong. It was incredibly strong, but the aquatic facet of it is like very, very potent. So very potent floral, that lotus and water lily is very, very strong. And it was like kind of giving me like a little bit of a headache, I'm not gonna lie. I wish it was just a tad bit sweeter to offset that really strong floral, but I still find it to be pretty good. I think I would play around with layering this one, maybe add something a little bit sweeter on top. It was definitely a powerhouse when I sprayed it on. I just sprayed it on a t-shirt, and holy moly, it was super strong. So this one, already amazing performance, and I only opened it last month. Okay, I don't want to give too much away because next month is going to be, we'll just say next month's going to be different. I was playing around with some layering combinations. I was spraying Olympea. This is just the OG Olympea. It's got that incredibly potent vanilla and salt. And I do understand why some people don't like it. It's like kind of in your face. It's very loud. That salt note is incredibly loud and strong. And I was I was trying to play around with the combination. So I whipped out Jungle Fantasy by Britney Spears. And I was like, oh, if I layer these two, does that work? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I think I was trying to tame the saltiness in this one with something that's completely different. So maybe it's the aquatic nature in Jungle Fantasy. I thought maybe it would dull that saltiness a little bit, and it didn't work. They're both kind of sharp and just blasted my nose. So that one was a little bit of a fail. I don't know. I kind of just wanted to mention that. Back to the warm and cozy, we've got Mercedes-Benz Club Black. This is actually, technically it's a men's fragrance, but I find it to be incredibly warm, ambery, vanilla-y, sweet. You've got incense and jasmine. You've got vanilla, benzoin, woodsy notes, and ambroxan. And I put this one up on my decant shop, and I kind of forgot how it smelled. So I'm just gonna spray it on myself. I think I just forgot how good it is. It's nothing crazy complex. Like, the note profile is pretty simple. It's very mass appealing. It's very digestible, incredibly safe blind buy if you're someone who maybe wants something cheap and safe. I find that this smells pretty freaking good. Very vanilla-y amber. You've got a little bit of a smokiness in there. You've got a little bit of a fresh balsamic facet from the wood notes, but it's so cozy when it dries down on the skin. It's so warm and cozy and creamy, and it's just perfect. I actually think it's a very, very good unisex fragrance. I love wearing this one personally as a woman. I don't know, I think in general, fragrance doesn't need to have like a gender, but I know some people care about those descriptors and they really shy away from anything too feminine or too masculine, which I totally understand. I feel like Club Black is just a safe blind buy. It's cheap enough, I think, over here. So this is a 50 ml. It is an EDT. I think it was like $30 or $40 or something like that. I don't know. It's pretty inexpensive for us in Australia. I don't know how accessible this is in other countries, but if you can get your hands on this for a cheap price, I think it's well worth it. Very safe blind buy. Even if you're a woman, if you like something cozy and creamy and it's got like a little bit of a smoke in there, a little bit of a sappy balsamic facet, and you're not afraid of something that's a little more unisex, try this one. Try this one. I feel like I haven't been giving enough love to my cheapies. I've definitely strayed a bit from what I used to talk about often, which are cheap drugstore fragrances, even celebrity fragrances, because I still feel like you can find some pretty good cheap stuff. Listen, we got a cost of living crisis, okay? Yeah, it's the cracks are showing. So I think we all can appreciate a really good performing cheapie, and this is definitely one of them. Because you know what? Even Middle Eastern fragrances are starting to get really expensive, you guys. Like, new Lattafa scents that come out for us can be anywhere from $80 to $100. The whole point was that they were affordable, but they're becoming unaffordable. Maybe I just go back to my roots. Maybe I just go back to my roots. I talk about cheapies like this and Jungle Fantasy, even though I didn't really like it when I first bought it. I've changed my mind about this one, by the way. I know I have yet to do a video on that. Another one that I whipped out just to see how it was doing, how it was sitting, was Narissa Rouge by Maison Alhambra. Now, this is a dupe of Narciso Rouge by Narcisa Rodriguez. I have a dedicated video, well, not a dedicated video, but I have a video where I talk about this and a couple of other dupes. I'll link it somewhere, but I'm pretty sure this version, this Maison Alhambra version, has a heavier iris facet. So it's obviously incredibly musky. It's very musky, powdery, and it's got a stronger iris facet than the original. And you know what? Even though it's got that heavier iris note, I did wear this once this month, and I don't know, I think it's just not for me. These super overly musky scent stories, I think, unfortunately, are just not for me. I'm too sensitive to musk, although this one, I will say, it doesn't give me a headache at all. I don't know, I feel like it's just maybe a bit too powdery. It's incredibly powdery, very musky. I think it's even not as musky as the original, though. It's still less musky, much more powdery, much more iris heavy. I don't know, it's just not for me. Not for me. If you're interested in comparison to Narciso Rouge, I will link it somewhere. Not a one-to-one dupe, definitely not a one-to-one dupe, but I can see why people like it. Just, I think it's a bit too powdery for me. Velvet Oud by Lattafa. This is like an alleged inspiration dupe off of Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. I will be honest, you guys, I haven't worn this yet. I have a very good reason for not wearing this. First of all, I'm a little scared because it's incredibly potent. It's very, very strong. I only want to spray it on skin. Problem is that it's the middle of winter, and so I'm usually pretty bundled up, and it's really hard to not spray it on clothing. My worry is that if I spray it on clothing, it will literally never come out. So I haven't gotten around to wearing this one yet, but I feel like it's gotten a little bit sweeter even since I last sprayed it, or maybe I don't remember it being as sweet as it is, but incredibly strong. If you want like a real oudy leather reminiscent of ombre leather by Tom Ford, highly recommend checking out Velvet Oud. Oh, it's so potent. You really don't need a lot of this stuff, and straight out the box, crazy performance, amazing projection. It's crazy good. So if you like those really strong, soft leather oud scent profiles, then I think you'll really like this one. And it's very, very powerful, very strong. So strong that I'm scared to spray it on me. So I think if I can get away with maybe wearing a t-shirt one of these days, I think it is starting to warm up over the next like week or so a little bit. So I'll try my best to test this one out when I can just spray it on skin. Okay, now I'm getting into decants that I sprayed this month. So I've got a perfume oil. I talked about this one. This is Blue Rose by Rehab. It's got lots of sweetness. It's got mandarin and black currant. It's got raspberry in the heart as well. So it dries down pretty sweet. And it's got lang lang in the base. It's got lang lang, cedar, neroli, oak moss. It's an incredibly lush lang lang, but very fruity as well. Very dense, sweet, strong. This is like super potent too. I actually wore this one today. Incredibly potent. This is definitely one of my better performing fragrances that I have. Even for a fragrance oil, I highly recommend layering this one. Get your like super sweet white floral fragrances and layer it on top of this. I feel like it would be divine. But to be honest, I don't even feel like I need to layer this. I just put this one on and go, and just by itself, it's pretty strong. So yeah, put it here, get it on my neck, get it on my wrists, and I'm good to go. That's all I need to do. So yeah, very much enjoyed Blue Rose. Very good performance, very strong. Love her. Okay, next, I won't talk about every single fragrance, but I did a video on Labo. I actually included Mr. Zuri in that one, and I know you didn't watch it because that one didn't get a lot of views, unfortunately. But if you're interested in Labo, I highly recommend you watch that one. It's interesting to have my perspective, but also Mr. Zuri's perspective, and just seeing what we would wear. A lot of Labo's scents are unisex, so I just find it really interesting to see our difference in opinion, and it might be interesting for you as well to watch. So I'll link that one below. So some standouts from that video. Mr. Zuri really enjoyed Rose 37. Rose 37, it's a little bit more of like an aromatic green fresh rose, which he very much enjoys. It's not pepper, it's got like clove or something, I forget, but it's got like some spice in there. So if you like more of like a spicy, fresh, not fresh as in like aquatic, but like green, like very aromatic herby rose, you might like Rose 37 by Labo. Another one that we both loved is Lys 41 by Labo. This one's got a heavy tuberose. It's a little bit sweet, but it's also incredibly strong florally tuberose, like a fresh tuberose. You could even consider it maybe like not your grandma's tuberose, but it's not that super sweet bubblegummy tuberose. If you want something a little more fresh and floral of a tuberose, you might like Lys 41. Mr. Zuri and I both really liked this one, so maybe worth checking that one out. Of course, Santal 33. This is a very polarizing fragrance, and you know what? I get it. It's definitely not for everyone. It's got a very heavy iris and suede and sandalwood, but I love the combination of the iris and the violet and the leather and the sandalwood. I think it's incredibly soft, and it's very interesting. It's very intriguing. It draws you in. It's very unique, but not everyone loves it. Mr. Zuri didn't love Santal 33. I know I'm very late to the game. I had a feeling I would like it because when I smelled Bath & Body Works dupe of this, I very much enjoy that one, and I still do. Do I even maybe enjoy it more? Maybe. I still have yet to layer them. I'll get there, okay? Another noteworthy one from Labo is Ambrette 9. Now, Ambrette 9, I think this is the one. We were very confused by this, both Mr. Zuri and I, because it's got fruity notes listed. You've got a little bit of a fluffy ambrette, but him and I both smelled something that's reminiscent of banana. There's no banana note listed. It just says fruity notes. It could be a mix of some of the notes. You've also got lemon. You've got some aldehydes in there, so I can see why it might not be for everyone. But we both smelled something like banana. It was so weird. Don't know if it's actually banana, but it definitely reminded us of it. So yeah, those are the ones I feel like were probably the most noteworthy. I don't know, I liked a lot of them, so I just recommend you just go watch the video, okay? If you want to know what we think about a lot of these Labo scents, we tested 10 of them. If you guys are interested, we might do a part 2, but I don't think a lot of people really care about these right now, which fair enough, they're quite expensive. So another one that I wore this month was La Belle Paradise Garden. I'm sorry, I just really like it. I really like La Belle Paradise Garden. It's just one of my favorites right now. It's very simple, yet very beautiful. You've got blue lotus in there. You've got vanilla and iris. I think that's what's in it. Listen, it's a very simple scent story, but it's very beautiful. Sometimes simple isn't bad. I think I've said this before. I try not to equate simplicity with like a poor fragrance. I think something can be simple and great if it's done well. And also it tends to be what people enjoy. If you want to smell good to people around you, I find scents that are simpler, they tend to draw more compliments. Now, obviously wear fragrance for yourself if that's what you want and if that's what you enjoy, whatever. But if you want to draw compliments, I find that these simpler ones do a better job. Just saying. Okay, 2 scents from Who is Elijah. I talked about these this month. So Ocean Eyes, which isn't necessarily new, but it is from, I think they released it in like December or January. So summer for us. I think it's not for me. It is very stereotypically masculine. It's got a very strong woody base. It's got a little bit of like a salty sea air facet in there. It's also got juniper. It's got juniper. It's got lemon. It's like a leveled up aftershave. I don't know. It's not for me. It just leans a little too masculine for me, but there's that one. Mr. Zuri likes this one for what it's worth. And then the other one was Desert Nights. So this one I think was only available in a rollerball. Yeah, this one I just wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed by it. You've got oud in there. You've got patchouli. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's not for me. Not for me. You've got jasmine in there. You've got some rose. You've got lily of the valley. But I feel like that saffron takes over so strongly. And it ends up smelling a lot more leathery on the skin. And that floral just completely gets lost. So unfortunately for me, Desert Nights, Who's Elijah, I wasn't in love. I don't know, not for me. So this month I did a video on Lovely Cherie by Maison Alhambra. I did a direct comparison and wear test to Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. Now I've had, first of all, this Lovely Cherie juice is from a bottle that was opened last year. So I figured it's very well aged juice. I've even had it for a while myself, like this decant. I don't have a bottle myself, but I know when the bottle it came from was opened. And then I've had this decant of Lost Cherry. I've also had this one for a few months, actually. That video was on my list for a very long time. Anyways, I did that comparison, and I actually found that Tom Ford's Lost Cherry lasted longer on the skin. I could smell it longer than Maison Alhambra's Lovely Cherie. Now, all of you in the comments were like, you gotta let it macerate. I smell it way longer than Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. What's going on? I don't know, you guys. I honestly don't know. Like, I even sprayed it again because neither of them really lasted that well. And I even sprayed them both again to test them. And well, while neither of them really lasted that long, I found for me that Tom Ford's actually ended up lasting longer. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. Listen, I'm not a scientist. I don't understand. Maybe my skin just, there's something Lovely Cherie, it just eats it. It just eats it up. I'm not really sure. Perhaps I'll buy a different bottle and open it and let it sit and do another comparison. But for some reason, The Tom Ford version just lasted longer for me. I could pick it up a lot more easily after a couple of hours, where lovely Cherie's, for some reason, it just wasn't that strong. I don't know why. Literally everyone was saying that they've had the opposite experience. So I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone or something. Listen, I get it, because a lot of these Maison Alhambra Tom Ford dupes, they really impress me, and this one didn't, so which I found was very odd. Maybe I'll just buy a different bottle and get a different batch and maybe do another test. I'm not sure. And I think just out of curiosity, I did compare it to Love Fest Burning Cherry by Kayali, just to see the differences. Obviously, Love Fest is not similar to Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. I was just more curious the differences with them. I actually really like Love Fest Burning Cherry. That's right. It's actually got Palo Santo, which I think can be a kind of a divisive note. And it does have a very heavy Palo Santo on the dry down. But to be honest, for me, I love Palo Santo, so I really enjoy the dry down of Love Fest Burning Cherry, but it doesn't last very long, like at all. It doesn't last, which is a shame, because I really enjoy the scent, but it just is like, it's poof, it's gone into another dimension. I don't know what happens. It's like I spray it and then it's like I don't even smell it anymore after that. It's crazy. And neither does Mr. Zuri before I get accused of going nose blind. Okay, more scents that I talked about this month. Fakar Rose by Lattafa. This absolutely blew me away with how strong and bubblegummy this tuberose was. I definitely was not expecting it at all. This is obviously a decant. I don't have a full bottle of Fakar, but after smelling this, I was like, I think I need one. Incredibly strong, sweet, bubblegummy tuberose. It's also got Lang Lang in there. It's very dense, very heavy, very sweet. You've got some honeysuckle as well. You've got like some more fresh florals in there. You've got this lush Lang Lang. Incredibly heavy and sweet. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love that about Fakar. And I think I ended up even wearing it once. Very beautiful, very sweet. Tuberose, Lang Lang. Delicious. I'm really considering buying a bottle. I feel like I've been saying that, but it's just another one that I talked about this month was Opulent Musk. Opulent Musk has a lot of musk, as you probably could imagine. I didn't realize before I had first sprayed it, that this is actually compared to Baccarat Rouge 540. God, I can't remember what I said about it, but I can't do the musk. The musk was way too much. I feel like on the initial spray, the amber was very beautiful. It was very fluffy, light amber. And then the musk started to settle and I hated it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the heavy musk. It was also a bit too medicinal for me. So I don't know. I wasn't in love with Opulent Musk. I did get some comments from you guys. It seemed like a pretty divisive scent. Maybe if the musk wasn't so heavy, I could see myself enjoying this one a lot more. But I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Initial spray was great, but yeah, the dry down, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get past it. The next one I talked about was Sunset Hour by Goldfield and Banks. So this one was actually a gift from a friend. She wasn't in love with it. She's really not a fragrance girly, and she was like, hey, do you want this? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. This one's got Desert Peach, it's got Raspberry, it's got Cashmere Wood, so you've got a blend of some fruits in there. You've got Pink Pepper and Ginger as well, so it gives a little bit of a bite. I actually don't mind it. I think one thing that would make this more likable for me personally is remove the pink pepper. That might make some people like it more. I find it to be a pretty good blend of fruits. It's very mass appealing. It's very digestible. It's got cashmere wood in there, so it's got like a little bit of a cozy facet. And then it's got a little bit of a bite from the ginger and the pink pepper. I don't find it to be that bad. I actually find it to be pretty good. It's nothing special. Like, if I probably wouldn't pay retail price, unfortunately, for this. I think when I smelled it, I said something like it reminds me of like an Ariana Grande fragrance or something, which it just depends on what you're willing to pay for. I don't mind it because it was a gift and it was free from a friend. I don't mind the way it smells, but maybe if you were to pay retail price for this and smell it, maybe you wouldn't be as happy. Okay, what do we got here? Splendida Tuberose Mystique by Bulgari. Did I talk about this? I think I talked about this in a video. I actually like this one. This one is very interesting. It's a creamy tuberose. You've got vanilla in there. You've got tuberose. You've got black currant. So it makes it a little bit of a sweet tuberose. but the base has myrrh, and you've also got Divana in the top. So it gives it like that, a little bit like a prickly greenness. Prickly? Can I use that word? It gives it like a prickly warmth and greenness from that myrrh as well. So I think I had picked the scent out for a particular video. I think maybe most people wouldn't like this because of the Divana and the heavy myrrh. It might come across like maybe old-timey to some people, but I actually quite like it. I like this one a lot. I like the myrrh in it, and I like it despite the Divana, because a lot of times I don't like heavy Divana notes. It can come across kind of like cat pee sometimes to me, but in here, it doesn't come across to me that way. So I actually really enjoyed this one. This decant bottle is leaking like crazy, and it's actually almost gone, even though I've hardly used it, which is very sad. And now it's all over my fingers. Oh dear. I don't know if I talked about this in a video this month, but this is a decant from Me Mum. I don't know of anywhere to buy MAC fragrances in Australia, so I just rely on Me Mum to send me decants. One that I sprayed just on a whim was MAC Creme D'Nude. It's got a heavy suede in there. It does have caramel, but it's not an overly sweet fragrance. You've got neroli in the top. You've also got ambrette, so it's actually quite a fluffy and light suede. And when I first smelled it, I wasn't like crazy about it. It's not my favorite scent, but Mr. Zuri really likes this one. So I sprayed it on myself, and usually I do this. I'll like spray something and I'll have him smell it and see what he thinks. And he actually really likes MAC Creme D'Nude. So I don't know, something that he really likes that doesn't have rose is like, honestly, it's groundbreaking in this household. Another one that completely took me by surprise was L'Heure Bleu by Guerlain. Now this is another decant, and this one surprised me because it's one that Mr. Zuri loves. This is a very powdery, vanilla-y fragrance. So L'Heure Bleu by Guerlain is a very old scent. It's over 100 years old. It's from 1912. I don't know when this juice is from. I don't know when the bottle is from of the decant that I have, but I'm very sure that there's been reformulation, so I doubt this is like the original juice. But it's incredibly powdery. You've got a lot of powdery florals in there. You've got iris, violet, carnation, anise, and coriander in the top. But it dries down to be it's a very vintage powdery floral scent. I walked out, when I did the video that included this, I just smelled a bunch of fragrances, some of them that you guys suggested. I'll link that video below. This was the first one that I had smelled and talked about. And I walked out and Mr. Zuri was like, what is that first one you sprayed? And so I was like, honestly, I was going through all of them. I was like, what about this? And is it this one? Is it this one? And he's like, no, that's not the one. And I was like, surely it's not L'Heure Bleu by Guerlain. Like, surely he doesn't like that. And he smelled it and he's like, no, that's the one. I really like that. Honestly, there is rose in here, but it's not a heavy rose. This is a very powdery, vanilla-y, vintage scent. So I was very surprised that he liked this one, but he does. L'Heure Bleu by Guerlain. This is the Eau de Parfum. I think there's like an EDT version and maybe a couple of others, but yeah, he really likes this one. Me, I'm not a huge fan of it. Okay, maybe a little bit too vintage for me personally, but he really likes it. So I just thought I'd mention it. I know I didn't talk about this one this month, but I have Ocean de Joya by Giorgio Armani. Oh, it just fell into my pocket there. Did you see that? That was crazy. And even though this was an accidental buy, you know what? I actually like it quite a bit. For having salt in it, it's very fresh smelling and not in an overwhelming aquatic way. There's some citrus in there. There's some greenness, but it's like not too much greenness. It's just enough to give it like that crisp edge. There's a little bit of a sweetness from the pear. God, I feel like you really can't go wrong with pear. You've got water jasmine, you've got lily of the valley. I didn't wear this, but I did spray it just on myself just to test, and I love it. I love Ocean de Joya. This is like definitely a mermaid. This smells like a mermaid. It's not super heavy on aquatic notes as well, so if you want something like appropriate for summer, it's fresh, it's crisp, it doesn't have an overwhelming sweetness if you're afraid of like choking people out with something overly sweet, but it's very, very refreshing, but still feminine. This is a great one. Ocean de Joya. Absolutely love her. So another fragrance that I smelled this month on camera was Amouage Memoir Woman. This one blew my tits off. Incredibly strong, like smoky, spicy, dark fragrance. It's got wormwood in there, so it's got like that sticky greenness. It's got cardamom, it's got clove, pepper, incense, so very dark and smoky. You've also got leather and labdanum in the base. You've got some animalic notes as well, so it's a little bit dirty, it's a little bit lived in. It is very dark, mysterious, spicy, smoky. You've got styrax in there, a little bit of a balsamic aspect to it. This is very powerful. It's very powerful, strong, maybe not my personal scent profile, but if you love those really like strong and smoky and spicy with like clove and leather and animalic notes, then you might really like this one. I was very impressed. Very strong. This will get you smelled. Like, people will smell you, and well, obviously they respect you. It's a very commanding scent. All right, the next two are ones that you guys suggested to me. I mean, you guys suggest to me a lot of fragrances. Like, a lot of these were suggested by you guys. But these two I bought decants of. One is Celeste by Giardini di Toscana. This has an incredibly light and delicate lime. It's actually got seawater in there, but it's not like a strong, like super overpowering salty seawater. You've got violet, you've got raspberry in the heart, so it stays very sweet. I was absolutely blown away by Celeste. This one, did it blow my tits off? It's very good. I definitely enjoy it a lot more than Bianco Latte. I'm surprised that Celeste doesn't have more hype around it like Bianco Latte does. I think like those really creamy gourmands, they just like, they're very mass appealing and most people like those. But Celeste, does someone know a dupe of Celeste? Because I want to get my hands on a dupe of Celeste. I love this fragrance, but I just know it's going to be $250 to get here in Australia, if I could even get it. Yeah, love the marine facet in here, but it's not overwhelming, like I said. It's just such a light, delicate sweetness. It's almost like, I think, a fruit taffy, I think is what I said. Like a fruit saltwater taffy. But so light, so airy, and just like incredibly feminine and dainty. I love her. She's awesome. I really want a dupe of this one because I can't afford the original. So someone hurry up and make a dupe of that, please. Another one that you guys suggested to me was Ghost in the Shell. Now, this one, it's got a lot of notes, a lot of interesting notes like milk and like skin. A lot of really interesting sounding notes. It just kind of smells like that fatty dove smell, like a soap bar, like the fatty bit in a soap bar. Not necessarily bad. It is very interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to testing this one more after I made my video on it, but it's definitely an interesting scent. And if you like those soapy smells, I think you'll really like this. If you like the smell of like dove, like that comforting dove fatty smell, I think you'd like this one. And then the next two I talked about were Infini Rose by Maison Alhambra and Atomic Rose by Initio. God, Atomic Rose is just so good. It's just so good. I can't remember. What did I say about this, you guys? Did I say that it was pretty good? I think it's definitely the closest dupe that I've smelled. Infini Rose is a very lovely fragrance. It's often compared to Atomic Rose by Initio. Infini Rose has hedione in the top, so the initial spray, you get a little bit different of a floral experience. It's still pretty heavy rose, but it's overall a lot more of like a well-blended floral experience with that added hedione note in there. I feel like Atomic Rose is still very much like a pow, like rose in your face, very clear rose. I still think that Infini Rose is really good. It's just that main difference off the top with that hedione. It makes it a little bit different of a rose experience, but very beautiful fragrance. If you want a full analysis of both of these, I talk about it in one of my videos. I'll link that below. Last but maybe least, a Bodycology scent. This is Bodycology Big Dreams. This is a body spray, obviously. This one's got freesia, mandarin, and vanilla. It's very bright. It's very bright. It's very uplifting. It is very happy. I think I sprayed it. I wasn't like super impressed with this, but it's okay. Also the juice is like radioactive. Like, look at that. It is blue. It's so blue. I would not spray this on anything light colored, so be warned. Not a bad smell though. For a body spray, pretty good. I think the freesia leans I think the floral in here, the freesia leans a little synthetic, so it can come across like kind of like laundry detergent-y or like laundry softener-esque. Look at that really synthetic floral. It can come off a little bit like sharp on the nose. That's the only thing. Okay, that is everything for, what month was it? June. That is everything for June. I've now I sprayed a bunch of stuff just then on my arms. I smell very confusing at the moment. Just as a heads up, next month will be a little different. I'll have a video coming out talking about it. Don't be worried. I think I'm going to do something very different for next month. So if you see my next video and you get a little bit worried, don't. Let's just say the spending has to come down. Let's just put it that way. But you guys will see in my next video. I'll talk a little bit about how things will be a little bit different. All right. Thank you so much for watching. You'll see me in the next one.